So I see a bunch of familiar faces. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Jay Epstein. I'm in from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is my third time at this camp, first time presenting. And I'm with Track Tech Partners, one of our platinum sponsors. Everyone is presenting. And we're lucky enough to have two other Track Tech people. Jen Phillips, say hello. And Claudio Vera. Cool. Moral support. I love good stuff. I'm the co-organizer of the Broward Drupal Users Group in Fort Lauderdale. I've been doing that for 4 years with a dear friend, Hector Irabarne. We do that once a month. We have a pretty good online turnout, so if you want to Skype in, join.me, you're welcome. So you can find us on meetup.com, Broward-Drupal. Love to have you. I'm also a mentor with the Drupal Career Starter program that Mike had mentioned in the keynote today. And actually, stand up, Rick, say hello.
I'm Rick. I'm being mentored by Jay. I'm in the Drupal Easy Career Online Starter Program. Week 5 of 12. It's going great.
Excellent. Welcome. Cool. I've done numerous Drupal camp speaking engagements, Austin, Florida, South Florida, where else? One more, I can't remember. But so I enjoy going to camps. I really enjoy doing this, and I like sharing what I do with you guys. Hopefully you can get some benefit out of it. I came from an IT director career of 14 years in aerospace electronics, and I basically decided one day I want to do this, and that's why I'm here.
You do podcast
presentation.
All right, overview. Here we go. Now we're going to get somewhere. Promise. Parent-child data modeling. This is a solution that I think has been around for a while, and there's many ways to handle it, and here's what it is. Who can tell me, can we relate a node to a node? Yeah. How do we do it? Give me some examples.
Entity reference.
Speak up. Shoot it out.
Reference module, node reference module, either of them.
Good. What about taxonomy? Is that an option in that equation?
Yeah.
Goes along for the ride, right? Okay. That's cool.
So you could do that with a term reference from one node to another?
Sure, it's there, and it's all part of this it buys into this relational equation. How about this? How would you relate a content type to a content type? I hear crickets. How would you relate a content type to a content type? Anyone willing to push that out there?
So what would be the use case?
There's one. There's one. Organic groups. That's a great solution to be able to do that. Pretty big solution though, right?
Pretty heavy.
Okay. I'll give you some example. This whole thing is all about education today, right? Let's say we had a program inside of the university, aerospace engineering. Well, in the program, what do we have? Give me some terms, give me some names.
Instructors.
Here's two. We have courses.
Courses, instructors, students, topics.
Schedules.
Classrooms.
Right.
So let's build a relational tree really quick. I have a program called Aerospace Engineering. Aerospace Engineering has many courses. Who knows even the most minute, small database logic? Show me by hands. You know what a one-to-many is? Everyone's heard of that, right? So would that be one program has many courses? There you go. One course has many schedules. Make sense? Many schedules has many instructors. Many. How would we do it in Drupal? That's what this is about. There's the overview. Okay? So along with that, no code. No custom entities, no ECK. Use your thought-driven UI. Let me explain what that means. If I said to you, do me a favor, log into Drupal and enter in a brand new blog post, but before you do that, we have to add an author that does not exist yet, and I want a brand new taxonomy term. How many times do we have to go into Drupal and do those three things? Is it 3 steps to do all that, or is it 1? What would you do first? Would you go and create the author that doesn't exist? Would you go and create the taxonomy term that doesn't exist yet, and then go and do your blog post? Does that make sense? Is that how you would do it? That's probably the right way to do it. I gave you 3 specific tasks, but I said it to you in a very cohesive, small delegation of a task. Write a new blog post. We don't have this author, so add him. And while you're there, create a brand new term reference field. That's 3 things in Drupal. Now that's great if you're a developer. You know exactly what that stuff means. What if you're an end user at a university and you just got hired and now you're told to do this? Now you have to go 3 places to do one thing. What this solution will allow you to do is create a UI that follows the user thought process the same way that you would delegate it. So when you're data modeling, you're not only data modeling for the data side, you're UI modeling for the end user. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, good. If you're so inclined, you want to tweet this out on Twitter, there you go. #TCDM. To be able to do this, guys, is a little bit of, I'm not going to say change, maybe it's a little different direction on how you look at working with Drupal. And here's what it comes down to. Does everyone agree when they first got into Drupal it was really tough to learn how to do it? Anyone disagree with that? I'm pretty sure we all agree with that, right? Matter of fact, I know I'm still taking it on the chin every day when I find something I don't know how to do. It's just the way it is, right? But the number one reaction point when we run into a roadblock, what do? There's a module for that. Who's heard that phrase? Show me. There's a module for that. Always, there's a module for that. Well, if you run into 10 challenges, is it safe to say you just loaded 10 new modules?
Sometimes.
But you're using one module for one problem, or one challenge, let's call it that. So if we wonder why our Drupal footprints start going like this, is because we're doing that same thing. We're loading a module for a challenge. Maybe we need to look at it a little bit differently. Maybe it's a better solution to take a challenge and remove the possibility of adding a module, remove the possibility of writing code, remove the possibility of doing a theme look or whatever else you're going to try and do, and stay as close to core as you possibly can. So, another thing is everyone climbs that same learning curve ladder, right? So let me ask you this. We learn content types, we learn taxonomy, we learn views, we learn fields, we learn themes, modules, so on. If all of us at the same time went through our Drupal learning curve, and all of us graduated that learning curve on the same day, who's unique? Anybody? Who's willing to go like this? What would make you unique?
Oh, the class. I don't know.
Think of something, man. Think anything. Think of something.
First one raise the hand.
Huh?
Because the first one, so it's a packet test.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. That's actually a good answer. You got one? What do you got?
The way that each of us approach a problem.
Good answer. Actually, really good answer.
And it depends on how you were taught too, right?
Thanks.
Possibly, yes. But here's my point, and the point is really small. Here it is. We all come out at the graduation point with the same skill set in Drupal. We all know content types, we all know taxonomy, views, themes, modules, and all those Drupal-y words, right? So how do we stand up and say, I can create a unique Drupal solution? How do we do it? It's simple. We stop where we are at that graduation day and find a way to make Drupal work in our own little world as a developer, individually. That's part of what this is. But if you're willing to go on that limb, you can't forget about these guys, the end user. That's a big sticking point that I've found in Drupal specifically, where we go developer-centric and developer-heavy, but we forget about the people that actually log in and put the data in. Who's been there? Who's ever figured that one out? Anybody? Come on. Somebody must have figured this out. Don't be shy.
Well, I'd say I spend a great deal of my work trying to make
Drupal implementation is easy for a content editor.
Right.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
But I think a good portion of developers are looking to solve that challenge first before they even go to the presentation side of what somebody's going to interact with. I think that's a pretty fair statement. So what do you think? You agree?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, if we could follow an end user's thought workflow, like we talked about, right? The delegation of a task, instead of being 3 separate mini tasks, make it 1. We can accomplish that. We can simplify the UIs. Who uses conditional fields? Okay. For those of you that don't, are you familiar with the module? Have you ever heard of it? You know what it does? It hides based on a condition. Hides 1 field based on this condition. Hides 3 fields based on that condition. So, part of what the parent-child data model does is it caters to 2 sides. It's a tool to allow a developer to rise above a challenge very quickly, staying very close to core, and also model the UI for the end user at the same time. Sound cool?
Yes.
Are we interested in that?
Yes.
Oh, come on, guys, show me some love, man. Are we interested? Yeah. Okay, now we can get into it. Cool. All right. One last thing before I depart this slide. I personally don't enjoy going into the content list. Do you? Who does? Who enjoys sifting through 50,000 records to try and find the node that they need to edit? Show me a hand.
Who builds a special view that gives you the filters that you want so you can actually find stuff without sifting?
Now we're
the
getting
first
into,
thing.
see, there's the direction. That's where we're going to start. We're going to get there. Nice. Anyway, who uses taxonomy? Come on, raise them high. If you use them, let me see. Why?
Building menus.
Good. What else?
Because I'm taught to.
Stand up, dude. Say that again.
I don't know not to.
That's the magic answer. Again, we all climb that same learning curve ladder, and we're taught that you classify content by using taxonomy. Who are we to say no? The really good guy, he told, he's the professional. He said that's how you do it, so you do it. And 25 people right after you do it the same identical way. Okay? So, who knows what an entity is? Are we familiar with the word? Have we heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Who can tell me, can an entity, well, I'll tell you what, can a content type replace taxonomy?
Yes.
Yeah.
All day long. So why wouldn't we do that? Because we're taught not to. Now, let's talk about views for a second. Who's like a views freak? Who's really into views? Who has no clue what a view is? Who's a beginner in views?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Who's a ninja in views? Knows everything about it. There we go. You, sir, just earned the coveted Drupal Diver Pen.
I'll let you learn.
I got more, guys. I'm giving away more, promise.
Love it. Love it.
So, guys, views is a pretty heavy-duty module, right? It does all kinds of cool things on many different levels. But if we set up a taxonomy view, what we're asking views to do is go out to taxonomy. Who knows how taxonomy is stored?
Very strange.
I'll give you one better. It's just like an Excel file. It's a flat file database in itself. There's no relational structure to the storage of taxonomy. If you doubt my word, do an export out to CSV of a vocabulary, it'll blow you away. It's one long line. Say that again. Wow. So let's break this down a little bit. Let's say I'm a view, okay? And I'm going to go and I'm going to say, all right, Claudio told me I have to go look at the taxonomy, the vocabulary, and find term J. Now, J's got 45 nested child terms below it. So now, views is going J, term 1, J, term 2, all the way down till it gets to number 45. Then what comes next? In the filters, what kind of node type, the date range, all of those other things that we smack on to the hard filters on the left side. So now, picture views. He's already sweating, he's getting tired. Taxonomy, all the way down, get the node, do the filters, run the query, put out a display. Do yourself a favor, turn on the query display and views. It will knock your socks off in taxonomy. About that long. Is that really efficient? Who says yes? Good, it's not. So now, let's go back to the other example, using an entity. It's a content type. They're all entities, right? So if we can mimic the functions of taxonomy with a content type, do we have to go outside of the node tables in views on the query? No. Views just stop sweating, and views goes like this. Content type. That's pretty fast. So, back in the very beginning, I said, how would we make relational content structures? How can we make one content type relate to another content type? Entities. Entities is the whole key. Again, we have program. Program has many courses. One course has many schedules. One schedule, many schedules has many instructors, so on and so on. You guys like getting jazzed up yet? Are you still there? Does it make sense? Does anyone disagree? Does anyone say, dude, you're out of your mind, man? Anyone? Okay.
No, but I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Since I'm still kind of new, what is it we'd be sacrificing by not using a taxonomy structure?
Absolutely no sacrifice whatsoever. If anything, it's a performance increase across the board, across all your content types, because you're removing a layer of classification that happens at the node level. That's really what it comes down to. Yes?
Now, I have a question on that. I've worked on a project where we didn't use usually hard coding due to the fact that views can be very sweating a lot.
Exactly.
So would this also help in the same way, or would you have to program this also up?
This is a zero code solution, and as I get a little bit deeper, you're going to have an aha moment. You're going to be like, oh, I get it now. Trust me.
Okay.
We're almost there. So to be able to put yourself in this mindset and work, I'm sorry, Shane.
So are you advocating then not using taxonomy and using an entity reference or something similar between content types?
Correct.
Do you factor in with any content type that becomes a display, a page per se, a node page?
Right.
Where in many terms with taxonomy, that's not necessary. You don't need a.
Let me give you even a more clear example, which I think will answer your question. What is today?
Saturday.
Okay. Where are we? Are we in a Drupal camp?
Yeah.
What is a Drupal camp? If you were modeling data, what would you call this content type?
Event.
An event. An event, right? What's a child content type of an event?
A session.
No, a child content type. Describe this event. This is a Drupal camp. Next door, they may be having a Linux camp.
Location.
Upstairs, they may have, I don't know, belly dancing class. Who knows? They're all events, but they're an event type. Event, entity reference to event type. We are now classifying this event using a node. Does that make sense? You visualizing? You thinking through this? Are the wheels going?
Yeah,
Event type.
I just know that. So I'm a little bit reserved listening to you because content types are always taxonomy has always been the way that we've classified.
Correct.
Right? It's always been what's known for classification, right? Like if I want to create an event type, then I don't create I've dealt with sites that have done this before, and then you immediately think, well, that's wrong,
Right.
you know?
Because of the learning stature that we all sit on, where we went through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Drupal 101, and we came out. The classifications are handled in taxonomy. That's just how it's done. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying that's wrong. And if it works for you, continue. If it, like my dad would say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. By all means, stay on that path if it works for you. However, what I can tell you is this, on the view side of things, if that taxonomy vocabulary starts to inflate, especially where we start, tacking on child term.
And I do see, some problematic taxonomy, especially in views.
Right.
I do see it.
Yep. The two biggest things that you'll see when view starts to lag on taxonomy is, number one, you can start getting Ajax errors. Views cannot redraw the screen in that same amount of allocated time. So they're like, sorry man, can't do it, Ajax.
Right.
And that will just get worse and worse and worse. Second of all, you can actually run out of process memory widescreen. That's another reason if you widescreen in views, take a look at your vocabulary. It's probably really deeply nested with images and whatever else on there. So, but to be able to get into this new, different way of thinking requires looking at your data and the site build in a much different way from point one, which is documentation. Who uses machine names religiously? Just a few, right? Who's gone into views and searched for a field? And it's about that long. You got to go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fields to get the right one. Show. I'm showing, man. Don't be shy. I know you all been there. So if I create a content type called event, and I change the machine name to event, E-V-E-N, stay with me now. And then I create a field called date, but the machine name is event underscore date. Create a field called time, event underscore time. Event underscore color of paint on the wall, whatever it is you want to choose. If I go into views and I search for a field, what am I going to search on now?
Event underscore.
Say it again.
Event.
Stop right there, event. It will now filter out all of those fields and only show me machine names that have event on it. You just tamed views way out in the galaxy. You are now fully bending views to your control. And I'm going to show you, hopefully, well, not now, I'll show you two slides so you can hang out. Okay, documentation. This all begins the whole process. Laying out what you got, what are you going to do with it, what are the machine names, and where did these things reside in the UI? This is where, like I was saying, we're going to cater to your end users in the data model portion. This is where it's done. And it's up to you how you do it. But be transparent. Share your documentation. I don't care how you do it. Google Spreadsheet, Excel, OpenOffice, whatever. Put it out there so everyone can see it. People will love you for it, trust me. And here's an example of how I do it. I do it in Excel. So take a look at column 1. Event. Event type, session. This is exactly the same example I gave you, Shane. Got event type. And there's the machine names. And if you notice, over in the field section, right next to it, field machine names, notice how they match the content type? Anyone have an opinion on that? Disagree? Like it? Yeah.
I agree with it. That's typically how I name everything.
Good.
But how do you handle, or do you handle shared fields between content types, or do you just say no shared fields at all?
Excellent question. Who reuses fields in Drupal?
I have to.
Well, there's an entity reference. You can reference entities to entities. So.
I'm going to put it out there, and if you disagree, that's totally cool, but I never reuse a field ever. Ever. Why? Because I follow my parent-child data model. I want to make sure if I have a field that's a date field, it is always preceded by its machine name.
How do you handle filtering?
As far as,
If you want to filter multiple content types based on the date.
okay, if you have an entity reference field, did you guys ever notice on the very bottom when you're setting up the field that there's a little checkbox that says show a select list? Anybody ever notice that?
Show us what?
Show a select list?
Yeah.
You know what that does? Does anyone know what that actually does? That tells views to allow you to set up an exposed filter with checkboxes. And you can do with a drop down and exposed filter. That's what that field does. And on the same little screen right above it, there's a little drop-down field that says sort. And you got two ways to sort it. Way number one is at the entity level. In any one of the columns within that entity, you can choose the way you sort it, or you can do it by a field on that entity.
This question was not about the UI of the entity reference. This question was two disparate content types. If they did share a date field, I can have one view showing two content types, and you're doing the math in the data.
Okay. That's another reason why I don't share fields personally, because again, I make sure when I'm looking at a content type, the architecture of this is I'm looking at one master node. So let's go back to the event. If I'm looking at the event content type, but I want to see the data.
If you want a calendar,
right,
to show me events for a certain day, I want to filter by the date field. How do you do that in this model?
Filter by the date field.
I think there are some options, especially depending on the calendar model. You can, I don't know if it's in the module where you use multiple dates.
Yeah.
For that specific use case, but I do see.
You're picking one field and you can choose a starter and date. But, or you're just dealing with view.
I think you can actually select, maybe this is a Google setup, I don't remember, but you can select the date and then choose the actual fields that qualify as a date field.
Right.
That could be an old version of Google.
Let me give you another answer and see if this will.
That's one example though.
Yeah.
Let's see if this makes sense to you. If I'm in a view and I've created an event view, the way I'm relating the event to the event type is with an entity reference field, right? Okay, so I have an entity reference field that says event type that is looking to the event type, content type, or entity. So if I go into a view and I create an event view, and I create an exposed filter on the entity reference field, the value, the label of the event type, then I have a drop-down field, the event, what type of event it is. Is that what you were asking? I think that's what it was.
Let me give you another example. I want to display a calendar, and on my site I have events and news releases. Mm-hmm. So those are two different content types. Now I will allow them to share a date field, and so when I'm doing a filter, I'm filtering on that single date field. Okay. It appears that the model that you're presenting, I would have one event date field and one news date field, and when I'm in views, how do I do that filter?
Okay, this works a little bit different. I'm going to show you why. Actually, I'm going to explain why. Like I said, I don't reuse anything inside of the, any of the content types, so it's all very specific based on this machine name thing, right? So let's talk about a product, okay? A water bottle. Well, this is part of a product family, right? Like almost like, Drupal commerce terms, right? We have a product family, and the product family is water bottles. But I have a product that's the 10-ounce water bottle, okay? So these are children, right? So, in the product family, I have an entity reference field. And what happens is, when I go to the product level, it's going to look up to see its parent, or if I'm looking at the parent, it's going to look down to see its children. So if I was going to enter a new product, I would actually go to the product family, content type, right? And I would add my node at that level as a child. So it's a completely different approach than what you're doing. Yours is a little bit more traditional Drupal. This is, actually, let me see if I can.
I'm going to have to see an example. So
yeah.
Keep on going.
Okay, let's go through some of these, and we'll sit down and we'll do it together. I'll show it to you. Okay, so real quick, stay away, and do your documentation. Best home was built on the best foundations. The magic is field groups and machine names, guys. Who uses field groups? The magic of all magic inside the Drupal UI. Because if you imagine this, you can now personalize these UIs, and that's what this section is all about. So, who does not write a redirect rule for Drupal when you log in? Does everyone let Drupal go to the user account page when a person logs in? No module. No module. That's standard Drupal default behavior. When you log into Drupal, it takes you to the user account page. Did anyone stop and think that when you're dealing with the CMS of many people that are logging in, that they already know they're a user? Wouldn't it be better to actually take them directly to their work dashboard? Wouldn't that be a better user experience for them? I think it would be. So I am a big advocate of that. And it's really simple in rules to write that rule. That'll redirect them on login. It'll take them wherever you want to send them. Just a little way to win some brownie points and also take them directly where they need to go. But you need to set up a dashboard. Make a really quick little rule, take you about 30 seconds to actually do it, and give them a management UI, and you build that inside of Views. We'll get there.
So it sounds like a profile.
It would look something like that. So if you're a user, if you're an end user, content editor, and when you log into Drupal successfully, bam! That's what I'm allowed to do. I'm allowed to do all of those managed things, and those are nothing more than management views. Who does management views? One, two. Anybody else? Three? Something to think about. Give them a one-stop shop place to go, including if you do documentation pieces inside of your content, put it there too. And by the way, if you want to change something on your user account, there you go. There's the user manual, all in one shot, one place. Does that sound cool? Something to try, right? Takeaway 2. Take them to where they need to go. Don't let Drupal control where they go. You control where they go. Use Views to set up those pages. It's all about personalized automation. Because sometimes Drupal gets a bad rap because it's hard to use. I think we've all heard that, right? Somebody's complained about it. I'm sure you heard. Maybe we're actually helping that to be that way by not taking these small steps to make that stuff go away. Just a thought. It's up to you. Model your data to fit a true life family. This is where the parent-child data model really comes into play, because who has kids? Who's got kids? Okay. Whoever doesn't have kids, do you have brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, things like that, right? Maybe pets. We all have some kind of a overseeing role to another person in our lives, or a pet or something like that. Well, if you look at data the same way, the chances are good. It'll be very easy to visualize your data. Again, like we talked about with an education. We have a program. The program has many, again, the one-to-many. It's the same thing. But the thing to keep in mind is a general rule of evolution. A parent will always look to protect their children, even if they're 35 years old, or 40, or 50, or whatever. And a kid will always look to break away from the parent as quick as they humanly can. Who remembers being in the mall when they were like 7 or 8? They didn't want to actually sit down with their mom and dad and eat lunch. They wanted to sit by themselves. Anybody? Come on. Who remembers running away from mom and dad, even though they said you got to stay right here, like on the playground? Somebody must have done it. Come on, really? You never did? Yeah? I did. Big time. I was a good kid. I was put on this faith just to defy whatever my parents said. But usually one parent always handles for the most part, handles supervision. I was deathly afraid of my mother. She had a backhand. So if I did something wrong, I knew I was going to catch one. Every relationship has this. And it was true.
So Jay, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When you're done with this point.
Okay.
So, what you're talking about are like design skills and aspect of leveraging Drupal. So and when we take Drupal training, and I'm somewhere between a beginner and intermediate.
Okay.
And tinkering with Drupal for a couple of years. I have a website I maintain in D7.
Okay.
I started in D6. But I have I've taken formal training. Doug has been a mentor of mine for, those 3 years. And I've never seen the class that tells you, we teach all these terms, what taxonomy is, what content type, all those terms in isolation, but nothing. There is not a book published, there's not a class that tells you how each of those things relate to each other, much less how, where one's superior than the other, which one's apparent. There is a million different ways to approach a solution to any one problem. And that I can't say Drupal is difficult. It's just there are so many different ways
It's spread
to
out.
accomplish it.
It's spread out. That's what it is. It's spread out.
But you're paralyzed because you just can't move forward with a solution. In your previous slide, that was a simple explanation of redirecting them from their login page, but coming up with that solution is just difficult.
Right.
It's a simple problem.
That's something that I call it trigger time. If you can go out and learn how to shoot a gun, and you want to do it on the gun range, you got to be out there and you got to do it for a while before you can get really good. When you're gaining that trigger time is when you're going to start seeing things that you can do in a different way that are quicker, that relate to you, because no two people look at one challenge the same identical way. That's a guarantee. It's rare you're going to have something like that.
And I think what you described, designing those content types, I think, is that what you're referring to as documentation?
Right. Well, that's actually the data structure documentation that becomes the UI design. It's all one big kind of one motion.
So if you don't get that right, you can't move forward. Actually,
you can. You know why? Because we're dealing with fields here. What I'm talking about is a content type with a field that has an entity reference, which is a field, to another content type. So if we do something wrong, and that relationship is no longer good, we have to make it go away. What do? Delete the field, right? Delete the field. End of story. Now, if we want to keep that data that's already there, that's potentially a problem. Maybe, maybe not. But it's as simple as that. You need to go, if you make a mistake and you need to make something go away, delete it. It's not going to hurt anything. That's another reason why I like doing it this way, because even though they're independent structures, they have their own little family structures within themselves. Here's a great example, a publication. Publication can be a white paper, it could be a blog post, it could be a video, it could be, 10 other things. But they're all publications, right? Publication type. All you need to know. Now there's your classification, and now views can do all these filterings and all these other things. So it's a means to make Drupal a lot easier to deal with instead of going the traditional routes. That's all this really comes down to. So everything that I've been giving you so far is about understanding how to identify your parent content type. Because if you choose to try this, you're probably going to be like, well, how do I know what the parent is? That's a piece that, it'll come with time as you do this more often. But today's a perfect example. Use today as an example. What is this? It's an event. What kind of event? It's a Drupal camp. What makes this Drupal camp unique from tomorrow's Drupal camp? The time, the venue, the number of sessions, the instructors, all of those things make this thing unique. Get the concept? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
This isn't unique.
And now that we're ready to see the next slide.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is, and it's an abstract. I look at it. It's an abstract discussion, and it only helps if we make it concrete. Right?
Okay. Let's see if this clears it up for you. Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Do the field groups look familiar?
I use vertical tabs, but
Same concept, right?
Yeah.
So I have a solution. It's a content type. I'm creating a node. I'm creating a solution right now. I need a title. We always need a title, right? But I've said that it has a teaser and a body field. But it also has related products, related videos, related events, and related publications. I just said, I give an example where publications actually has 6 child content types, right? So on that field group, how would I access those children? Well, now we just open this up to a thing called the grandparent-grandchild relationship. This is the parent. But when we click on that tab, it's going to become the grandparent. How would you do that in standard traditional Drupal? Anybody?
you could start with an entity reference,
Okay.
or you could use an inline form.
Inline forms probably would be the better solution, which is, well, actually most people will go to that. But how would you make that happen? That's a nice, elegant way to select child record types that are grouped by a parent. Remember we talked about exposed filters and views? There you go. Look on the right side, case study, blog, white papers. I could have 3,000 nodes in that view. That's actually a view, by the way, that is actually showing itself on a node ad form. Entity reference view widget. Anybody ever use it?
Yes, but I never thought about using it there, or using a sophisticated view, and more specific, rather than just giving a list.
It's an entity reference view that has nothing more than an entity reference view widget checkbox on it. So,
can you build useful operations there?
Well, actually, at this level, you wouldn't want to, but there's another side of this I'm going to get to in just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to bring up VBO. I'll show you in a minute. So, now, again, this is all about making this nice for the end user, because the end user now has access to all of those other child records, events, publications, all that other stuff, right? So, like what I said before, the solution becomes the wrapper.
So they're selecting their entity reference.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly right. Now, they can select one, or they can select 1,000 if I choose to let them. It's up, that's really irrelevant. But what will happen is that now the solution node has all of those things attached to it, all in one shot.
So when I click on the related publications tab,
yep.
What does that screen look like? Does it pop this up?
There's actually a button that will say add items.
Okay, gotcha.
No, I don't even have to show you. There's a little button that says add items.
Okay.
Right.
And then that's going to do the pop-up automatically with an entity reference.
This is actually a view that we're looking at. That's the publications view with a drop-down filter on the publication type.
Can you go back?
How do I get the pop-up part?
That's what the module does. The module does
gotcha.
that for you.
Okay.
So can you go back one slide again?
Your entity reference is really like your autocomplete field. You have this extra module, and it lets you choose. It says in the autocomplete, lets you choose based on a view.
Okay,
right.
cool.
Correct. Yes, sir. Did you have something?
No.
Okay.
So basically, you hit that related products tab.
Yes.
And then like a button.
Add item.
And then you click
Correct.
that button and it pops up.
So, with what we're showing here, there's no speed decrease in anything, right? We're not going to any other window. We're not going to 3 separate places to do one thing. We're staying in one place, but we're telling the UI that anything that we tag out of those field groups, I want to bring as a cohesive little piece all in one shot. So when I display this solution on one page, maybe this is node 123, the solution. Yes, got it.
What was the name of the model?
Entity reference view widget. Okay? What's going to happen is when I display this page, all I need to do is tell views to create a block for each one of those. And now I can now control any of those block displays. And guess what views it's looking at? One node ID. Which one would it be? The node ID of the solution. So, if I'm looking at the node ID of the solution, I have blocks displaying on that same page, and I have, in this case, 4 other content types. I'm now showing 5 content types of data on one screen with one query. Views. That's the speed. That's where the speed comes from.
So what if I want to add a new publication?
A brand new publication?
Yep.
Good question. Good question.
Like the blog post where I need to add a new author and a new term.
The Add Items tab is really used to add existing things that are already in the system. Write this down. Entity Connect. Has anyone used that one? No. Entity Connect will allow, it's actually a very small, simple module, really. Here's what it does. It'll allow you to create a node starting from the solution, in this case. It'll open up a brand new node add window. It'll grab the cached value of the solution page you were just on. And when you save that new node, it'll take you right back to the solution. That's all the module does. It's tiny, it's not that big. So the combination of Entity Connect and Entity Reference View Widget give you a very unique, elegant way to let people add new stuff or grab a hold of stuff that's already there, without any limitation on a family tree. So far so good. Does it sound cool? Yeah. I see blank faces. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think. Does it like weird and trippy or what?
When you load a node, normally could be from code with entity wrapper or any other way. Normally they only bring the second level of the entity reference.
Yeah, with that approach.
Does this help to go deeper into the
There is no limitation of depth with this.
I'd like to see the demo.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it like how.
Yep. Yeah.
Clickable or pointer.
Absolutely. I agree.
That would work with views, but what if I want to create an API? If I don't have access to the other levels, it would make
Well, see it's an approach difference where what I'm trying to do is make Drupal a lot simpler to handle a very complicated issue, where that approach is already looking to go at the deep, complicated level without trying to make it anything less than it is. It's really just two different ways to look at the same solution, two different approaches. This is mainly geared around no code, no API, none of that, the real heavy interaction stuff.
By API, I mean a REST service.
In this case, this is all self-contained, all within one data model. So, I mean, it's all right there. You know what, the demo, it'll probably clear up a lot of that, I think. And I need to get kicked out of here, so. Oh, really quick, before you guys split, what does it take to actually do it? These are all modules you guys already have to have in your sites anyway, guys, really, except for Entity Connect and Entity Reference View widget. In my case, I use conditional fields and use bulk operation. The last thing I want to point out to you is why do I use VBO? Because if I went up to the add content, like in the admin bar, and I put a node in the system, and it's not attached to one of those relational structures, what is it? Orphan. Orphan! We now have a way to track orphan records in Drupal, right in the UI, with a views bulk operation. If the title of the parent node is null or blank in the view, it's an orphan. No code, no nothing, no manipulation, and we can also notify at that point too.
Go back one little second.
What's that?
Go back one little second so I can get all the rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cruise right through that? Sorry about that.
One more.
One more?
Yeah.
Oh, did you upload this presentation
There you go.
somewhere?
Sorry
It's
about
on
that.
present. It's on present, public presentation on present.
There's a note on the.
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
What's that?
Is there a link on your?
I gotta put it up. I will. I will. Did you get what you needed from that slide?
Yes, thank you
Okay,
very much.
good. Okay. I think we already beat this one to death, how you describe it and what it is. It's a parental relationship on the data side, the same way you would look at your kids, cousins, aunts, whatever. One last thing. For the people that know what a database is and how it works, what I showed you in the Drupal UI, does it not resemble a one-to-many in a database relationship? It's a pretty cool way to actually make a relational UI inside Drupal without going to the database level to do it. Right? Cool. Thank you very much, guys.